Hi, I'm Anna Carson, a kinesiologist from Damara Wellbeing.
Hello, I'm Meliors Simms. I'm the Holistic Tooth Fairy.
Okay, and today we're going to be talking about heavy metals and the impact it has on our health.
Because heavy metals can play a really big role in oral health problems. But to start with, what kind of issues have you been seeing in your practice caused by heavy metals, Anna?
Yeah, heavy metals can cause a whole load of different symptoms, things like fatigue. You often see people with dark circles under their eyes. That can be a really big sign of heavy metals. It can also be pain. It can also be things like brain fog. It's a lot of stuff. It also links in with, so heavy metals could also feed with the Epstein-Barr virus. So I see a lot of that too, where people have a big heavy metal load, and then there's other kind of viruses that have fed off it. So that's another big area that I work with.
And I see sometimes people their oral health is being affected by heavy metal toxicity coming from the mercury in their fillings, if they've got amalgam fillings, as I still do. They're the dark metal fillings, which fortunately aren't so common now. And when those fillings are destabilized, the mercury can contribute to gum disease, tooth decay, and other diseases in the mouth and through the body, but coming off the mercury in those fillings.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's a huge problem. There's heavy metals kind of everywhere, really, and it's really hard to avoid them. Like you said, we have them in our in our fillings and stuff, but it's also in things like our soil. Even in our water, it's often good to filter our water to avoid those. So it's in our food, especially not organically grown food. So kind of more commercially grown food. There's obviously heavy metals, even in things like stuff that we use on our face. And it can also be used in vaccines, deodorants, and stuff like that as well. It's in so many things. It's actually really hard to avoid them.
So what are the particular heavy metals that are causing all these problems?
Well, aluminium's a really big one. So that's one. And you also see that in things like tin foil that we use. I mean, that's aluminium. The tins that food is actually canned in, they can either be steel or aluminium, but there is often a leakage from that. We've also got mercury, as you've mentioned already. Copper, nickel, lead. Water pipes used to be made of lead, so that was a big thing. Back in the time, not so much now. You kind of learnt that lead is poisonous.
Well, they used to make lead toys, didn't they?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was in paint and stuff as well. So lead used to be a big one. Arsenic is another one, and arsenic actually used to be used as a pesticide. And so that was kind of back in sort of my grandfather's era. But it was used and sprayed on all the garden vegetables. It's they're kind of everywhere. Cadmium, copper. These are other ones as well. So there's lots of different heavy metals, and they all have kind of different impacts on our body, I guess.
Yeah. So I mean, my understanding is that those metals prevent the body from being able to digest and use minerals, in particular from the foods that we're eating. So they bind to them in our digestive system. So like the minerals that we need for teeth health particularly are phosphorus and calcium, and those get bound up with aluminium and lead, and aren't available to remineralize our teeth or to hold our teeth and bones strong and healthy.
Yeah, it is. It's a really big thing with the mineral, blocking the minerals. they all block different ones, but things like magnesium, zinc, manganese, even vitamin C, vitamin A, iron, all the big ones that we use and that we need are often blocked. So if we have a big heavy metal load, then these can be blocking a lot of our mineral absorption. So it can play a huge part in our health, and our oral health too.
So even if people are eating what seems to be a really healthy diet, if they've got heavy metal toxicity, whether it's from foods that they're eating or some other source, then they're not actually getting the benefit of their healthy diet to support their health. And that's, I guess, why people who are very health conscious still get sick.
Yeah, definitely. And even supplements. I think supplements is a huge thing, because people take all these supplements and yet they're maybe not able to absorb them. And I see that a lot with my clients. A lot of my clients follow the medical medium protocol, which is very much around eliminating heavy metals and also the viruses that I was talking about, like Epstein-Barr. And they take a lot of supplements which can help. But if the supplements of, say, zinc or magnesium or iron or whatever, the ones that they're taking, if they're being blocked by the heavy metals, you need to kind of fix that first and sort that out first before actually taking them. Otherwise, it's almost just like expensive pee, it's just going through you. So yeah, it is. It's a big problem which isn't really recognised. I don't think. We all kind of think if we take a supplement, we're getting the benefit of it, but it's not always the case. So yeah, it is. It's a big problem.
Right. So, what can people do about it?
I mean, there's lots of different ways of eliminating heavy metals. As I mentioned, the medical medium's got a whole protocol on it, and he's devised like a heavy metal detox smoothie. So that's certainly one area that you can look at. There's various things like barley grass. And these which are very good at binding to the heavy metals and helping them flushing out. So there are other supplements that you can take which can really help. Even things like coriander or what do you call it here, cilantro, and parsley. These are all really good herbs that you can take, which help the body to detox from them. So yeah, there's a various different. Even things like seaweed, if it's the Atlantic, what's it called? Atlantic dulse.
Yeah.
Yes, that's a really good one as well for the heavy metals. So there's that. But I mean, it's also about trying to avoid them. That's another big thing. I'm sure you have that as well, especially with people do have mercury fillings, and I'm sure there's a really important kind of protocol for following that, for removing them or not.
Yeah, so people ask me all the time whether they need to remove their amalgam fillings, and as I indicated before, I haven't yet removed mine. And I think if you have symptoms of mercury toxicity, those kind of symptoms that you listed off at the beginning, or the oral health symptoms, then of course it makes sense to remove them. But if your body is resilient and your fillings are stable, I think that there's a good argument to be made for holding onto them until you have to have them removed, because for one thing, the process of removing amalgams is in itself exposes you to a whole lot of mercury toxicity, especially if the dental equipment and the dentist's training isn't really specialized in this area. It can be quite dangerous. But also, like for me, so much of the structure of my teeth has been removed and replaced with amalgams that once the amalgam's gone, I probably won't have most of my molars, at least in that part of my mouth anymore, and I'm not quite ready to give up on those teeth until I have to. So yeah, it's tricky, and I think people should take it on a case-by-case basis. I don't advocate one or the other being the only solution. everyone's
Yeah, that
individual. Yeah.
makes sense, doesn't it? Yeah, and then it's depending on how, I guess how big they are, how how much of the tooth has been taken, or how many they have as well. Because I've heard about not taking them all out at the same time and things like that as well. That if you are going to do it, to really space it out.
Yeah, or really doing. There's a protocol to strengthen your internal organs to be able to handle the potential load of exposure when the amalgam's removed, and to do a detox afterwards. So there's a whole protocol to do around the removal of amalgams to prevent you being affected by the toxicity as they come out. So yeah, it's not a straightforward thing. I'm supporting a number of people through that process at the moment. So
it's interesting. It's interesting you said about the elimination organs as well, because that's it's something I work with a lot too. And we mentioned it a bit in a couple of the videos before about how the elimination organs do hold on to the toxicity and the heavy metals and stuff like that, even though it isn't beneficial for them. It's all part of this. When we're talking about letting go. If there's a fear of letting go, then the toxicity, the things like the heavy metals and stuff, will be kept in there, and so it's again, like you said, working with the organs and ensuring that each of the elimination organs are able to do their job. And that's where the emotional side, we always end up going into the emotional anyway, but it's true. We have to look at the emotional side of ensuring that the elimination organs can do their job, and that they feel kind of safe almost, to be able to let go, because often what happens is the organs almost mirror our emotional kind of state. And so if we're holding on to whether it's your past hurts or memories, or we just have a fear of moving into another stage and of allowing the old out, the organs almost mirror that. So that's another way to support it, is looking from the emotional side of things too.
And that's so interesting, because it's parallel with the gums. Like I often see when there's gum recessions, that's because people are really holding tight to emotions and not releasing them. Not even necessarily a matter of expressing them, but acknowledging them. Like to even know that they have those emotional hurts or traumas to release. So, yeah.
It's fascinating, isn't it? Because it's never just happening on the physical level. There's always the emotional stuff as well. And I guess talking about avoiding heavy metals too is really important. We've talked a little about how to eliminate, but things is to avoid, and that I'm sure you've got other things as well. But one of the things, or there's big things like aluminium, checking your deodorant for aluminium. We've already mentioned about filtering your water, so that any heavy metals that are holding there. Even things like fish, like the tuna and the bigger fish, which are higher up in the food chain, they hold quite a lot of mercury and stuff like that. So just being aware of that too, and kind of limiting the amount of, I think it's swordfish and tuna are some of the biggest ones, I think, aren't they, with the heavy metals.
And that's a real argument for eating organic food, because there's heavy metals used in pesticides, even though they've stopped using arsenic in that context. But there's still
quite a lot
often heavy metals still in the soil from the past. And one of the things that certified organic farmers have to do is show that their soil is clear of these heavy metals, as well as not using any new ones. So I find it interesting that the tests that you sometimes see comparing the health benefits of organic food and non-organic food, they're just looking at the nutrient content, but they're not looking at how non-organic food can inhibit the body's ability to access those nutrients.
I know.
Such a big role.
Huge. Yeah, I know just south of where I am, there's a huge big steelworks. And yeah, the heavy metal load in the soil there is obviously, so high. There's so much toxicity in there. Yeah, you have to be so aware of, what has the land been used for, and what's, like you say, is there factories around and stuff like that. So yeah, the more organic that you can eat, for sure, is important. And even things, like the seaweed, that we talked about, it's being aware of where it comes from, and what that country's environmental, kind of awarenesses, I guess, for want of a better word. So yeah, it's just being aware, isn't it, really, of the things where heavy metals can be, to avoid them, and then to help your body to be able to limit them, or to be able to eliminate them, and how it can impact our health, and be aware of those symptoms.
Yes, very interesting topic. Thank you for talking with me about that today, Anna.
Yeah, well, thank you. It's been lovely, and we'll chat again soon.
We will. Okay, bye.
Bye.